all about entrepreneurism and social impact. It's about people from the outside who may be watching from overseas to get a good idea firsthand of what's happening here in Indonesia, who's doing it, how they're approaching it, who they are, and so on, right? So now tonight we're going to introduce Dedy soon, but Dedy I met maybe 3 or 4 years ago, probably even more than that, right? Indonesian, handsome fella, buff as you like, for those who like that. But just the thing about you, which I really, from the get-go, was your energy, your passion, your drive, and the fact that, again, you're from Indonesia. We'll get to that in a second, but you have this multidisciplinary approach to entrepreneurism. You're always carrying around a book, writing things down. I remember, and I see the book over there as well, always writing things down, like you're always learning, right? So we're going to get into what that looks like in a minute. We're going to talk about one of your projects, which is Peduli Learning Center. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a bit about your background, how you came to be here. And I love, because one thing I want to speak to you about actually is where in Indonesia you were born, because a lot of people don't know about that part of Indonesia. So we'll get into that as well. So my name is Robert Ian Bonnick. I'm the founder of RIB and Associates, which is a growth strategist in Indonesia, and we basically are a super connector strategist. We help companies, domestic and foreign, create profitable, valuable businesses. So look, let's get straight to it. So Dedy, I mean, I think I've described a little bit about you already, but for those maybe who are just tuning in now, you know, like, how would you describe yourself in terms of what drives you and where that drive comes from?
Wow, Brother Robert, thank you so much. First of all, I just want to acknowledge you, brother, here. One thing that I really love about you is the consistency. Man, you just showing up. Like, since I met you, like 4 years ago, till this point, and man, the things that I really want to learn from you is the showing up consistent. Like SpeakuP Monday, it's over 400 episodes, man. So yeah, I just loved your consistency. You are as a human being, as a person, and also I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So just want to acknowledge you, there, brother.
My brother, all good. And by the way, we didn't script this. As Dedy's wife said when he came in, it was like, you guys are wearing the same thing. Jeans, black shoes, a V-neck, black. Anyway, there's so much I want to talk about. Over to you, brother. So yeah, so what is it, for people who don't know you, right? So where are you from, and what drives and inspires you to do what you do now?
Certainly, brother. So I grew up in an environment where my parents, Brother Robert, would rather have seen me in a field planting corn than in a classroom learning how to write or read. So now I grew up without the knowledge of how to write even my own name. That's the background that I grew up in. So if you're Indonesian and you're born, Indonesia is beautiful, like beautiful, and a lot of islands. So as a result of that, limited access to education. So if you were like me, born into a remote place, and so now you grew up, your parents just look at you, they just couldn't be bothered. They just couldn't be bothered to take you to school because the school is just too far. They're like, you know what? You follow me. And like, where, Dad? Field. Planting something there. So that's the environment that I grew up in. Unfortunately, Indonesia.
And whereabouts was it?
It's Timor. They call here. It's East Timor. So it's before it was part of Indonesia. And luckily for me at the time, I had mentors that cared. Like they were stranger to me, but then they cared about me. And there was this guy named Pak Made. He was busy man. He's an army, and he had businesses, but he took the time to teach me 3 things. So English, entrepreneurship, and eat well. He's just like, you gotta eat well, you gotta exercise, do some push-ups, some pull-ups. And that led me to Bali. And one thing led to another. I ended up because of education. He educated me on those three things. And that led me to live and work in Australia for over 7 years. Perth, Australia. Beautiful country. Brother, have you been?
I lived in Australia for 25 years.
Oh, brother, sorry.
Yeah. But not in Perth. I was in Sydney.
Man, beautiful country. And if I were to say I'm anything today, it's because I was domesticated by them in terms of Western way of thinking. And so, well-organized country. I'm forever grateful. I learned about business. I learned about entrepreneurship. And that led me to be able to have my own businesses, a real estate business, and I'm doing, if I might say, doing really well in that, and create financial freedom for myself and also for my family. And that's when I said, time for me to give back. And then that's when I found the Peduli Learning Center. Now, Peduli Learning Center is all about teaching kids English, proficiency, entrepreneurship, effective communication, leadership, and social skills. So we focus on these 5 things. Now we have 12 computers. We have 137 kids in our schools. 137 kids. So we started with self-funding, me and another 2 co-founder, Mazi and also Sam. And we found the place here. Just if you guys ever want to come for visit, we'd love to have you guys there. It's very close, like 5 minutes, like 10 minutes in Canggu area. And the kids, man, I don't know, they're just passionate. I actually brought some of the things they created. The thing is that because we don't force them to come. Their parents don't force them. They come because they want it. And as a result of that, they learn. Like now I've brought a book. They wrote their own story in English. And also they created beautiful things like that we put on online that people can actually purchase. So entrepreneurship. And we're talking about like 10 years old. Brother Robert.
That was good. That was going to be my next question.
That's my partner, beautiful wife actually. Baby, can you please just bring that? Thank you so much.
Book, yeah.
And also the thank you. So these are stories like from this kid, like Fanny Maheswari. So one of her story here. She created this.
So look, why you're doing it? Because it's hard to hold a mic in one hand.
Yeah.
So look, here's the thing, right? So these kids, so are they all Indonesian? Are they Balinese? Is it mixed?
Mixed, yeah.
Mixed.
Yeah.
So how old are they? You mentioned some are 10. So what is the youngest? What is the oldest?
So the youngest 4 and the oldest 17. Yeah.
4 and 17.
Yeah.
So who are these kids? So are they kids which are falling through the cracks? Are they going to school somewhere else? Are they not going to school somewhere else? What is it, or how do they find you? So there's 3 questions rolled into one there, right? So
awesome, brother. Yeah. Thank you. So now these kids, they have parents that look.
No, just keep on talking. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So the program is not part of like school, so it's outside of the school. So it's that's why we call it Peduli Learning Center. We actually don't call it as a school because it's a bonus add-on to school system. And so after school program, and we have 4 rooms, and we divide it into 4 rooms. First one, 4 all the way up to 6, they have in their own program. And then also from 7 all the way to 10, they have their own curriculum. And then from 10 all the way to 14, they have their own. And then also 14 all the way up to 17. And we work closely with an organization called Stella's Child. I don't know if you've heard, where they help kids 17 to connect with companies like companies here in Bali, in hospitality, and so now we have connection with all these companies. So after they're finished with the Peduli Learning Center, they have a job to go to.
Love it, brother. So, okay, there'll be people watching here who are wondering, they get a sense of your energy. Maybe if we get some tissues as well. Normally we have tissues here. Man is sweating. It's like he's doing a workout. It's a workout, I didn't tell you, right? So people here maybe want to say, well, what is it that you need help with? How can people contribute if they're watching this, if they get to watch this show back maybe in a month's time, 2 months' time? How can they contribute to what you're doing?
Certainly, Brother Robert. So there are two ways to get involved with Peduli Learning Center. The first one is, of course, we would love to have you in our schools to share your skills in terms of entrepreneurship, if you leadership or effective communication, to teach these kids these skills. Or involved in terms of cover the ongoing cost, where we work out the numbers. So if we have 137 kids, we break it down in terms of teachers. We hire teachers, full-time teachers that can come and teach these kids. And now we have 5 of them. And then also we have, obviously, ongoing costs such as internet, Wi-Fi, because we have these 12 computers. And then also we have the AC, all the cost. And then we work it out, it's around 20 to 23 million. Per month. So we break it down. Each child basically costs us 11, because 137, so we break it down, per child is around $11 per child per month. So now we created a system where we use Patreon. I don't know if you guys heard Patreon. So Patreon allows us to do that. So like my friend Mazi actually sponsored two children. 2 children, and through the program. So there's a membership that you can choose. Okay, I want to sponsor 1 child, actually 2 children. And every day we actually updated the progress every month. Everything like financial transparency, accountability, everything is on the platform.
Great, brother. Great. All right, so let's get this microphone unstuck. All right, so we've got this. East Timor. Grew up, basically your trajectory was heading towards the fields, right? One person turned to be your mentor. Those 3 things that he taught you that I still see, well, from the time I met you 4 or 5 years ago to this very day, right? And then I see that then you managed to, get ahead of business, create some financial freedom for yourself. And then it came down when you're in Bali, well, what is it I can do, right? For other people, other kids who maybe were in a similar position to what I was, right? So we've come through that part, right? And Peduli Learning Center, 10 minutes away from here, was the outcome, right? Great. So let's move that to one side and let's get into the other parts of your life, right? So, for someone in your position, you smile a lot, you have a great attitude, right? You have a great energy, and it can be infectious for other people. But behind the smile is some hard work. So perhaps there are people watching now, whether they're Indonesian or not is irrelevant, right? Because the human spirit, people inspire people, unity and diversity, that's what the show is about, right? So it's the principles of a person, right, which translate and transmute into the adult that they become. So if there were 3 things, let's just say 3, if there's less, it's okay, for someone in a similar position to how you grew up, which 3 things would you say, these are the 3 things you must master, right? To have a full life, to have an effective life, to actually go and do stuff that matters.
Can I give 7, brother?
Like I said, I knew it was going to be more than 3, but 7? Okay.
But I make it quick and make it simple. I make it quick and simple. So I wrote a book called Empower Yourself. So the 7 principles, success principles. I call it success principles. And it's an acronym. That's why I say it's easy for you to remember, for all of us to remember. So it's contained in the word empower. E for energy. I believe you have to have a high level of energy for you to execute your idea. Let's say if you want to have let's say, Brother Robert, you want to have, you've got this business idea and you want to change the world with your business idea. But now you don't have the energy to do it. You're just like, I don't know, maybe lying on the couch. Just can't be bothered. I don't think you'll be here with me, brother, with the SpeakuP Monday. So
I'm trying to keep my energy here, because if we don't, there'll be sparks. You crack me up. Come on, man. Right?
So that's one, energy, so the word empower, right? And then the M stands for mindset, positive mindset. I believe it comes down to mindset, how you look at the world, perspective, how you frame things that you see. So it all comes down to perspective, right? So mindset. And P is purpose. I believe that if life without a purpose it's almost like you put a piece of paper on a current and then just allow it to just flow wherever. But purpose gives you that sense of meaning in life to do something. And then the O in the word empower is ongoing, like ongoing self-improvement. You talk about learning, right? With me with my book, and keep going, learning. Ongoing, engage with ongoing self-improvement. And the W is willingness to ask questions. I learned this from my mom. My mom always asks, would it be possible? Would it be possible for you to help me with this? Would it be possible for me to sell your fruits and vegetables and make money out of it? Something like that. I observe this. This is her mentality. She'll always ask, and I want to embed this also to these kids. You gotta ask. The reason why I'm here is because I reach out to you, brother. I did. I text you. I say, hey, brother, would it be possible for me to be on SpeakuP Monday? And you were like, yes, brother. Text me on January. January, right? You said that. So would it be possible for you, and insert what you want? Willingness to ask, and ethical, like work ethic. Like for me, I work with one of the best gyms in Bali. Nirvana Life. And one thing I learned is that be world class at whatever that you do, and have this work ethic. Like just put everything you've got, be congruent with yourselves, of course, and all that stuff. I think work ethic matters. And last but not least, resilience. So that's the word empower. And I wrote the book, Empower Yourselves. It's actually on Amazon. And it's also printed. So if you want to, I just go brief on that, but in the book. And then the way I wrote the book is not like, hey, I teach you this. No. I created characters, right, within the book, 7 characters. Amy, Milan, and all that, we used the same acronyms that this George who's traveled around the world, who learned all this. So when you read the book, it's not boring, but it's actually an engaging, fictional.
Right.
Yeah.
The 7, right? Empower. Which one did you struggle with the most, and why?
I would say mindset. Sometimes, you get up in the morning and you're just like, you know what? You just can't be bothered today. And so every day I had to, get over that. Come on, Dedy. Go and do your push-ups. Let's go, Dedy. Go for a run. And it's raining, but it's okay. Let's go. So mindset, something that, yeah.
So what got you through it, right? Because there are people here, and the mindset one is a big one, yeah? We all have a mindset, and we all wake up sometimes not wanting to do something. Very important. But how did you get over it? Because again, you clearly got over it, but how would you tell somebody else who's also struggling with mindset, what route would you give them to overcome?
I only speak from my personal experience through this. So, structure. And what I've discovered, structure creates discipline, and that out of discipline creates freedom in your life. This is my personal belief in that. It's so structure. So I got up in the morning, everything in my head is all about acronyms. So I use alliteration acronyms. So I say, okay, 3 M's. Movement, mindset, mindfulness, and mindset. So movement, I need to just do some push-ups or jumping up and down. And then mindfulness. So I need to sit there and just breathe and feel the inner energy field in my body. I don't know what they call it, scanning the body and meditation. And then after that mindset, my partner would like, I would record myself and talk about my vision. I envision the vast majority of people waking up every morning feeling strong and inspired. And so this is my vision. And I said that over and over and over. I actually record it and I play it. So that's kind of like keep me in the frame of mindset, like positive mindset. Yeah, structure.
How to use that mindset to win in the game of financial freedom?
I really love this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and also Cash Flow Quadrant. The reason why I think I'm here is in this position in my life in terms of financially is because of that, just the formula. Very simple, which is create passive income greater than your active. And so I set that as a goal. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, you buy one property and then the second one and then the third one. So now, if I can share it here, I've got around 7, and that allow me to be able to do the things that I do now. Yeah.
Got it. And so, mom and dad are still alive?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And they're here, there. Where are they?
Yeah. There in Timor.
Got it. So, were there any difficult conversations that you had to have with them? And if there were, think of one and let us know why it was difficult, why you had to do it, and how you felt after.
The most difficult conversation that I had with my mom was ask her to come here. I say, hey, mom, Kim, I have place for you. Actually, I went to Timor and I bought a land for her, and she was really happy. I show you a picture, man, and she was like, "Oh my God, my son, blah blah." But then I say, "Mom, you're I say old, but yeah, Mom, you're in your 60s now. Come and live with me." But she doesn't want. My dad, she actually. My mom, yeah, no. I was like, that was the most difficult, like, to convince her, like, hey, life here is beautiful. And life here is beautiful. You don't have to climb the mountain because over there you climb mountain everywhere. But she'll love it being there, and so I just support her. Whatever that she decide. But I would love her to be here with us. So.
Got it, brother. So the reason why I ask that, again, these questions are all in flow. We don't rehearse any of this, is because quite often it's our parents that hold the kids back. Right? So there might be people watching now saying, well, I want to be like this guy. He's got this energy. He's got the empower, right? Which has got him to a place where I want to be, right? But quite often it's the people around us and their mindset which holds our mindset, because again, they hold us, right? So for those people, and again, I'm pretty sure at Peduli Learning Center, you're going into this as well. How do you create an individual to be stronger than their surroundings? In other words, stronger than their parents' opinion, perhaps, on what they should or shouldn't do. How do you do that?
Love it, brother. So I always ask the kids the question, why are we here? It's so imperative from my perspective is that to know the reason why you're doing something. So I'd ask, guys, hey, why are you here? Why are we here? And they would be like, and so I then go through the whole thing about Peduli. What is Peduli in English? Means care. So when you come from that heart of caring about the person next to you, doesn't matter what the mindset is. Like, okay, let's say my mom's being really negative, and she's like, when I try to do this, she said, oh, don't do that, don't do this. My dad would do the same. But we know to be true that in our heart of hearts, when we come from a place of caring, love, compassion, we see through their unconsciousness. And that's the key. And so I want to embed this to their mindset, like the mentality. It's like, you don't have to change what's out here. I came from a background of, like, one could say, there's no chance for me to be able to write my own book. create the financial freedom that I want, travel around the world, and no, I have no chance. Because the environment that I grew up in. But something changed inside me because an opportunity. And this is why I am a big believer in education. Education is the key for me. It's an educated mind or an individual is the most powerful force for positive change. I think Nelson Mandela once observed or once said that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world, used to change the world, right? So I would say focus within, and when you observe something out here that's, one could say, negative, we reframe it, like, how can I love this person? What can I give? And how can I be compassionate, caring towards? Because, to be honest, we experience pain as a human being. And when pain meets pain, it's just more pain. But the pain meets compassion, love, then it transforms. So that's my deep belief around that.
So 2 things. Thank you. So in no particular order. Number one, I think my background, growing up in children's homes for 6 months of age to about 18 years of age in London, right? And having this other crazy experiences where I get to do some incredible things that was never in my trajectory, right? Working with superstars and moving around the world and all of this. So the question's this, right? It's twofold. So one is this self-talk that we all have, right? Which, again, we talk about principles. We talk about in the morning when you don't want to do something, and you're like, yeah, and your mind, self-talk is going, look, do it tomorrow. It's raining. You don't need to do this now. Do it tomorrow, right? So you've got this going on. That's one. Number 2 is you're a beautiful brother of color, right? So some of the places where you've been to, again, you know where I stand in this, because even though we haven't spoken about it, you know from my nature and how I am, right? But there are people out there which may be still struggling with this. So you're in a place where maybe racism is there, right? What's your self-talk? How did you overcome it? So both questions are linked, and it's about self-talk. So to reframe it also, to make the people also at home understand what I'm trying to say or trying to ask you, is that, so my belief and understanding is that our self-talk drives us to do lots of different things. It stops us, it inspires us based on where we are with it. One of the things that may be in your life, being a brother of color, that you've had to overcome, may be people treating you differently because of the color of your skin in some of the places that you've been to. So tracking this self-talk, what or where was it at for you? And if you had to overcome it, how did you do it?
Thank you, Radha. So I was in Australia, as I shared, for over 7 years. And to be honest, it's beautiful country, beautiful people. I work 4 jobs, actually. Labor, night filler, if you guys like those guys who like fill the shelf. At night, 7, 8, all the way to 12. And also personal trainer, and then at the same time study. So as a result of that dynamic, I came in contact with people from all over the world. You know it, like not just Australian, Indian, and all this. And this is where I love that word of understanding. Like when we see beyond things beyond, that's where compassion comes in. I believe that because at the time when I was to be honest, in the bricklaying, I don't know if they speak English, but sometimes it's like, FF here, FF there. I was like, yes, sir, yes. So the word, and then he was like, so they just use those words. But that's the nature, because bricklaying, right? We work hard. But at the same time, I look at them as I just follow, smile, and then respect them. Because of attitude, smile, respect them. Yeah. and they love me. They're like, hey brother, some even took me to their place and had beautiful dinner, and I believe it comes from us. If I behave in a certain way, people will respond to that behavior. If I look at you just because of the color, and I just started to have this mental judgment, they already. But if I come from a place of, I love you, brother, I love you, sister, like we are one. I basically don't see that when it comes to it. Like it's not even in my consciousness, because I work with people from all over the world. I'm trained like people from Europe, you name it. So it's never came across my mind, brother. And even if it's just something like there that I don't even entertain. Yeah.
So then, for someone watching who might be going through this, what you're saying is that it's a mixture of education, meaning understanding that people come from different places, different vernacular, different language. Yeah. I remember I lived in Australia for 25 years, man. So, so I get it, man. Right. So different ways of being, but then also, the thing you can control is how you respond. Right? At the end of the day. So you can respond. I used to respond with violence, right? To a certain point. But then I got it. There was a war called the 100 Years' War that we studied in English, in history, while in London. And then what I realized was that, the way this thing gets passed down is from generation to generation. And I was in a position after this particular attack of getting revenge, or realizing that by doing that, I become part of the problem. Right, and I keep it going, right? So it was a decision that I made there and then to be part of the solution, right? And since that time, I'd never really faced or come across anything like that ever again, right? From the age of about 12. But great to hear your side of it, because again, we live in a country, the nation which is unity and diversity is the motto of the country, right? Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, which I think is a gift. Right, that is there, that is like this underneath, and it infuses through everything. True. Right. So, but again, people from here traveling overseas will face something. Yes. So, and again, you need people which are lighthouses. In other words, they stand for something and they beam their knowledge and intelligence to that frequency to those who can hear and understand. Because again, it's one decision or one thought that can change and can change how you see something. Yeah. So the reason why I'm asking these questions, which again, it comes through, not from me, is because I know that some people watching this may need to hear one of the things that you're saying, because you're an inspiring, beautiful man, right? Okay, so in about a minute's time, the microphone over here will go to anyone here who has a question, right? So when I look out into the audience, and I'm going to name it, I see my African brother, Reda from Algeria. I see my German brother. I see Ayu from Indonesia. I have no idea where you're from, but it's okay. I see a French beautiful woman. And I don't know where you're from, actually. Where are you from? America. There you go. So again, we are this, right? This is how we are. My wife is Indonesian. Our kids are mixed, right? They're Indonesian, Australian, and English, right? So this is part of it. So look, we're getting to the point now where, coming into this, was there any statement that you wanted to make that you feel is coming up now, that you feel is important, that people should know? Now, this could be reiterating a point you've made already, or something that just comes up. Then after that, we're going to go to questions from the audience. Right. Certainly. If you need more time, I've got something to do. It's okay. You say, Rob, more time. It's okay.
I think to empower others, you must empower yourself. And I'm a big believer of that. Master that one thing, and all else just come into your life beautifully. Self-empowerment.
Love it, brother. All right, so while people are thinking about their question, I'm going to show you this. So in my hands here is a magazine, right? It says Change Makers in and around Bali. So this was launched by the Nuanu Social Fund. So Nuanu, who haven't heard of Nuanu, it's in Nyi, Tabanan, not far from here, not too far. And they've conducted, I think it took about a year, probably the most extensive research mapping of change makers in Bali in all different industries. So from sustainability all the way through, right? And they've published their findings here. And it's one of the most comprehensive things which I've seen be delivered. SpeakuP Monday, myself and SpeakuP Monday were top of one of the categories in there. But the word change maker, right, is a word that conjures up imagery for me. It conjures up memories as well. So if I ask you, what is a change maker in the terms of principles, right? So what is a change maker from the point of view of the principles that a change maker adopts or is part of them, what would you say?
Wow, I need 2 minutes for this one.
Yeah, my brother. Through, not from. Remember that.
You don't mind go over the question, brother, one more time, if you don't mind, brother.
Brother.
Just wanna.
So the word change maker,
yeah.
it evokes something for people, right? So my question to you, and again, this is all personal opinion. There's no right or wrong answer here, right? So when I ask you, or if I bring up the word change maker, what does it mean to you? Now, because it's you, I go one step further, which is not only what does it mean, but what does it mean in terms of the principles that a change maker has within them. In other words, the principles that drive a change maker, what would you say they are?
Awesome, brother. Thank you. I would say someone with that intention to give, to create. And those are the individuals that one could say a change maker, because they create things, they invent, like Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, they've got this way of thinking, like I want to create something that would serve the rest, like the world, like how, one thing, and then they come up with the idea, Apple and all that stuff, Thomas Edison, the light bulb. So those are the individuals, right? Change makers. So for me, an individual with the intention to create, to give, to be of value, yeah, and then principles, I would say self-leadership again. So it's always come back to a change maker, a change maker, someone who knows how to lead him or herself, and because they can lead themselves now, they go through life. They don't cause pain. They don't cost, they create beautiful things when they go through life. So it comes from that self-leadership.
Thank you, my man. So questions. Carol, I know you have a question. The microphone is right next to you. But before Carol asks a question on why Guzman's getting there with the mic, my brother, that's what you are. That's what you are. Straight up.
Thank you, brother. I love you, man.
Sister Carol.
So I'll actually continue to answer Dedy's question on his behalf, because I know him a little bit, well enough to do that. The one thing that I have observed with you is your curiosity. And the fact that you always behave as if you almost like own the place, yes? You unashamedly pick up the phone and say, hey, what can I do to be on your podcast? You go and ask, yes? You come to Philosophy Club, and there are not many Indonesians that come to Philosophy Club, and I love the way that you show up, and the fact that you bring that curiosity with you, and you always have your notebook and your pen, and you're always on target learning something. Yes, there is nothing that you do that's not with intention to learn. So I really recognize that curiosity with you, but also this confidence that actually I belong everywhere. And that is very, very important for someone who wants to change things. So I really wanted to point that out about you. You're in a position where you're teaching, and you have your private clients for your fitness coaching. You also had your clients for your business coaching. Then you have the kids that you're looking after. What I would love to know is, what are 3 lessons that you learned from your students or from your clients?
Wow, Carol, that's a great question. Thank you so much. And also, I just want to acknowledge you, Carol. I love the person that you are. The positivity that you can just sense, like when you spend time with this beautiful being here. It's just like, oh, you just see the world like everything is positive, because she's imbued that energy. So I love you about you of that. Thank you. So in terms of answer your question, when I teach these kids, the things that I really love, or the things that I learn from them, is to cultivate this white belt mentality. I frame it like white belt mentality. What do I mean by this? It's like this innocent, like, I don't know, can you teach me? It's like, I think the most dangerous 3 words in English language is, I know that. But because they have this attitude like, hey, I don't know, can you teach me? Now I learned that. So one is white belt mentality. And from my clients that I work with, it's about consistency. In life, it's like without that one thing, you show up even though you don't feel it. My clients sometimes like, oh, can't be bothered, Daddy. I can't come. And then I teach them about this. Like, hey, look, you get your muscle up not by showing up once a week. It's like in a relationship, brother Robert, and I said to my partner, hey, babe, I only have 1 hour with you, yeah? 1 week, per week, yeah? She would look at you and like, are you crazy? No, I don't want to be with you, because you only have 1 hour with me, So same with everything in life. If you only spend 1 hour per week with that thing, you cannot master it, that one thing, that 10,000 hours again. So I think consistency leads to mastery. And last but not least is clarity. I always a big believer in clarity. Clarity breeds confidence. Someone has confidence is because he knows. When you know, like if I know how to ride my bike, I have confidence. I just know. I don't need the confidence. I know I'll do it because there's a clarity of how to do it. So clarity usually comes from the time that you put in whatever that your craft is, and clarity comes because of the time that you invest in that one thing. So white belt mentality, consistency, and clarity.
So what I love about what you just said is that it was all very good, but you didn't answer a question.
But that's also Dedy.
But it's okay. So her question was, what have either the kids or your business, what has it taught you? Yeah, so it can be your kids, can be your business coaching, can be your fitness coaching. But by the way, I love what you said because, man, these are all gems, right?
That's literally what they taught me. That's literally what they taught me about white belt mentality, brother. These kids taught me to keep that white belt mentality, not come from the sense of like, I know that, right? So I when I observed them, I was like, oh, look at this. Okay. Kids, I don't know this. Can you teach me? But being an adult is like, when someone shares with you an idea, like, hey, I have this idea, and he's like, I already know that. So then you don't learn. So what I learned from these kids, or what these kids taught me, is to embrace that white belt mentality. And what I've learned from, or the clients taught me, is consistency. You gotta be consistent with the things that you do, and that's what I really love about you, bro. I was watching, I was like, man, that's my brother. This is the energy, like that you want to be surrounded. I think your friends influence your financial stuff, as everything, relationship. Choose your friends wisely because they're your friends. There, your fortune lies. I love that. Choose your friends wisely because there your fortune lies. I surround myself, sometimes if I don't have friends like that, I surround myself with Robert Kiyosaki, all the people that have achieved financial freedom. And one thing that I love about you, bro, and watching your SpeakuP Monday and all this, because the consistency, you are a man of, congruent. Like you say this and you show up. You're there. And I was like, man, that's the man that I want to, learn from, and I want to be surround myself with. Yeah. So.
Brother. Great question, Carol. Now, any other questions, anybody? Any other questions? Reda, so just hand it behind you, my darling. Okay, Reda.
Thank you very much. It was very inspiring. I learned a lot. I'm sure we're going to see each other and go deeper in those subjects. The question is very simple and straightforward. What's next? So Peduli Learning Center is a great initiative and apparently it has a huge success. So what's next and how the community can assist you and support you in your future endeavors?
Powerful question, brother. Yes, what's next? So first we want to look at the problem that we face right now in Indonesia, and that is lack of very limited, like in terms of access to education. If you like me, born into this place, and then you just don't have access to education. And then the second is the quality of our education. We need to upgrade our curriculum. And third, it's shortage in terms of teachers, and just low in terms of the payment in terms of the teachers and all that. So, and as a result of that, you have these people in Indonesia that cannot compete with the rest of the world because they just don't have it. If a guy in America or kid in America started in here, and you see a kid in Indonesia started there, like with nothing about computer, IT, nothing, English, of course, you will always stay behind, right? So what's next is how can we, Peduli Learning Center, so we want to build more Peduli Learning Center across Indonesia. I have this crazy ambition to build at least 500 of them throughout Indonesia, 500.
500
schools
throughout Indonesia.
Throughout Indonesia. So how do you do that? So you want first sustainability, right? Create something that's sustained. And so that's why I teach these kids, like, you go to the marketplace, they don't care whether you black, white, yellow. They care about value that you create in the marketplace. I teach this to these kids. That's why they create their own story. And I say, if you create their story and then you learn how to write, you learn how to market your book, whatever the story that you think they will inspire someone out there, and they're willing. I would love to read one of these kids' story. They're willing to like, hey, I want to buy this because it's very uplift and elevate me. And so then you create something in the marketplace, right? And also, baby, can you please give me they're also very creative. They create things like this. So this, we're talking about 8 years old to 10 years old. The other one as well, baby. So what is this? This is place for you to put pens, pencil. Like I was like, guys, look around. What do I need? They're like, okay, what do you need? Kak Dedy is like, brother. So they're like, okay, yeah, you need this. So they come up with this. They say, what is this thing? So basically, you can close that thing like that. We put pen inside, and then you lock it. Sorry,
yeah, they're like lolly sticks, right?
There you go.
There you go.
So pen, now we can open it,
lolly
put a
sticks and
pen.
plywood.
Yeah, I was like, that is very clever. Just an inspiration. Like, I don't tell them what to do. I inspire them to think. It's like give them a fish, right? They only survive that day. But if you teach them how to catch that fish, they will survive. So they come. And then actually I bought this from them. I bought this 20K. I said, how much do you sell it? And they're like, oh. So now I teach them about negotiation. I teach them how you present your ideas. I teach them. They're like, okay, this is. So the idea is if we have more like this around Indonesia, then you will have these kids that think forward. Like they invent, they come up with their own original ideas and all that stuff. So.
And as you know, right, we're going to wrap it up pretty soon, but as you know, it's like, I think it's 90% around that of the GDP of Indonesia is created by small to medium-sized enterprises, right? Which makes it so robust when it comes to global crises, because it's not dependent upon a few large companies. You have millions of micro entrepreneurs doing their thing, and that's what insulates the country from being impacted during times of global uncertainty. So brilliant. So look, what we're going to do now, so I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to think about a closing. So something you want to leave people with. It could be something that you want to reiterate, or it could be something fresh and new that you haven't had a chance to say yet, right? You've got about 2 minutes. So everybody, next week show, Reda, and you, it's a great segue. So basically, we're going to do a series about real estate in Bali, right? Now, it's a series. So what this means is that this is part 1, and there's going to be 3 or 4, probably 5 parts. So this first one is about expats living here, right? So we have 5 experts. Reda is one. Reda Badia, who's the managing director of MHub Bali. And MHub are a global company. He's been on the show about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Incredible human. So he's one of the panel, right? And another one we have will be Robert. And now Robert is the CEO of the first legal, legitimate, incredible platform for tokenizing property investment. There are 50,000 people, which are 90% Indonesian, who are investing in the property market via tokenization, right, for as little as $1, right? So he's coming on. We have Rasmus, who you met earlier on, who is a Danish Viking, I call him. Well, he's a Viking, right? And he's in the development sales space, and he's an absolute gun of what he does. He's probably one of the best sellers of real estate, I think, in this area of Bali for sure, right? So, of then we also have Sheila, who is the head of, I think it's the largest online business now. It's called Bali Interiors. Okay, so Sheila Mann from Bali Interiors. So now who am I missing? I'm missing one person. So we have Reda, we have Robert, we have Sheila, and Rasmus, and me. Yeah, that's it. So that will be the first one. And we're going to be talking about things like, what is the Bali real estate market about? What's doing well? What's not doing well? How, with all of this growth, do we manage culture? How, with all this growth, do we manage, the relationship of human to God, human to environment, and obviously, human to human? So how do we do that within all of this? Okay? So it's going to be a very powerful episode with 4 or 5 different leaders within the space. And again, it's part 1. The preceding parts will be Indonesian, right? There'll be Indonesian, Balinese being here. How do they see and want to manage all of this process? So this will go on for maybe 3 or 4 months or more, but we start it next week. So if that interests you at all, I'd suggest you come in person and meet these guys, because wonderful, wonderful people, all of them. So, coming to you, before we do that, I want to thank Tropical Nomad, Brother Guzman, Ayu, and Hadis. Thank you very much. This is episode 410. Next week will be 411. Thank you to the audience who came. Thank you to you, Brother Dedy. And again, you're going to be on the show again, brother, obviously, clearly. But man, from me to you, respect, appreciate, love who you are, who I've always known you to be. And it's great to see you flourish and pass on your knowledge to the next generation, which is what it's all about. All right, my brother. So over to you. See us out with whatever you want to say, and we'll close after that.
Thank you so much, brother. So I believe in the language of opportunity, and that is English. I wouldn't be here with you, brother, without that one thing, and that is English. So, and that means I believe in educating these kids about that. So for those that are online or here offline, one thing I think the gift that you can gift is to educate people around you, especially the one that couldn't speak English. Speak English, because it opens more doors. Like for me, the reason why I'm here today is because of that, the English, and then it opens doors and more doors in my life. And come from that place for, again, caring. And I just want to leave with this beautiful quote, and that is, in the garden of life, caring is the soil that nourishes. Thank you, brother.
Round of applause, Dedy Tien. Thank you very much.